Welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You, a daily podcast that shines a light on the American justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual, rather than the collective, can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most.
And welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You. I am Sonia Ebrin, a co-founder at Courtroom 5.
And I am Deborah Sloan, the other co-founder at Courtroom 5.
Delightful show lined up for you today. In a few moments, we will speak with Wanda Butler. She's the owner of We Decide. It is the maker of technology for financial analysis and discovery to help simplify the divorce process. So we'll be excited to learn more about that today. Before we get there, though, Deborah, what's on your mind today?
I want to talk about a recent bunch of over 100 arrests of teenagers, basically people under 18 in San Francisco. They were basically, a lot of them were bystanders for something called an annual Hill Bomb event where skaters and bikers ride down Dolores Street, okay, in San Francisco. And police rounded up over 100 of them and prevented them from leaving, basically detained them. And there was a lot of outcry and severe criticism of that behavior. And an attorney for the Partnership for Civil Justice, Rachel Letterman, says you have a right to be an onlooker on the street, at some event, as long as you're not directly interfering with police action. And she says the police can't just go round everybody up. I mean, imagine if there were a bunch of old people and the police just rounded them up because they were old, But basically, that's what they did. These kids were under 18 years old, most of them. And the police later came back and said they declared the event as an unlawful assembly because there was some action. A 15 and a 16-year-old had they claimed assault a police officer. And so they rounded up basically out of 15, 16-year-olds and basically you're detained. A lot of the parents were very angry. A lot of citizens were very angry. And I agree. I mean, good Lord. You're just going to just round up people of a certain age who are watching an event and detain them, And so that's our criminal justice system.
I have some sympathy for the police. It's not a job I would take, certainly. And I have more sympathy even for people trying to maintain public order in some of these metros. I mean, it is a tough job. You're talking about, in some instances, millions of people going about their lives as free agents. And how do you control that sort of, population? But, over the decades, I mean, we've seen everything from, what was it? Stop and frisk in New York City, a ridiculous policy, to things like this. And I think there just needs to be some check, right, on these police activities, because that's just a tremendous overreach to go around arresting a bunch of kids for being onlookers. We need a longer conversation on that. But, that is one of my bugs about just the way things are done in this society. So. Right. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Sure, we'll get a chance to talk some more about that in future shows. At Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people, in particular to the people who use them. And we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. So if you are in court without a lawyer, or you need to sue someone and can't find a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com. Give us a try, and we hope to provide some relief for you there. At this time, it's my pleasure to welcome onto the show Wanda Butler, owner of We Decide. Wanda, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure to join you guys.
Fantastic. Now, as I introduced you, I mentioned that you make technology to simplify the financial aspects of divorce and other family law issues. Tell us more about your offering there.
Absolutely. About 10 years ago, I began in the finance industry, and I started to meet more and more clients that were in the accumulation wealth stage, but then found themselves going through separation and divorce. And they had nowhere to turn other than to seek the advice of a lawyer. And a lot of their issues were not legal in nature, they were financial. And so I felt that there was a gap, and I just became very, very passionate about helping them to be able to pick up the pieces and to still have the financial security that they were looking to achieve after their separation and divorce. So I began working as a divorce financial analyst. I took specific training through the Institute of Divorce Financial Analysts to become a consultant, to become a divorce financial analyst. And then we had COVID, and face-to-face meetings became very difficult. So I started to move a lot of my work product online to help increase access to the services that I provide, and to be able to provide those services not just to the individuals in the process, but also to the legal representatives that were actually helping them through the process as well.
It's got to be a tremendous service for people. I can only imagine trying to manage the financial aspects of, splitting up assets in a divorce. It's got to be very complicated if you have a modicum of wealth. As I think about the alternative, which is going through the courts and having the courts sort of figure all that out, I suspect neither party in a divorce gets what they want financially. Is that your sense of it as well?
I do believe that they could get what they want financially if they didn't spend copious amounts of money fighting over a set of martini glasses that might be worth maybe $50, and they've spent $50,000 in court fees trying to figure out who's going to get the martini glasses.
That is a good counter example there.
And
yeah.
One major serendipity that came from this, it wasn't just about helping people to divide massive amounts of wealth. There's just one very big, great feature that came out of the use of this program that I've created, and it's for individuals that might be in a very precarious situation, or in a domestic violence situation where they've been withheld of information, or if they've been marginalized from the financial information. And I've recently worked with some individuals that this process enabled them to be able to gather their information, analyze their information, know what they wanted out of it without compromising their safety with coming home with court forms and big stacks of paper, or having to leave to go out to an outside meeting to be able to do this and to justify where they went for that period of time. And so that was another serendipity of helping them get what they want, and also what they need.
Absolutely. And so the technology, is it for the people going through a divorce, either side of it, or the lawyers potentially that they might be working for? Like, who is the actual user of the technology?
So the information gets entered in either by the individual or by the legal representative. Say a lawyer already has a client, and it's been several weeks, months, years, whatever, they've been trying to help them sort the financial affairs. Then that lawyer or that legal representative could use this program and enter in the information in that way, and it would help them and strengthen their negotiations because it minimizes all of that paperwork down to one sheet.
Very good, very good. And so the output of the software or the analysis is, I assume, just a financial statement. Is that about right?
Yeah, and a what-if statement for how they would like it to have it divided. So it just takes all of their information and it just categorizes and puts it in the right places. So the legal representative would be able to have a really good understanding of the whole financial situation. But how I've done my discovery is the questions that's asked to the individual are done in common language, and taking the legal jargon out of it, taking the adversarial jargon out of it. So it really does get down to the root of what the client would like to have, or the user would like to see as their desired outcome. It's more about dispute avoidance than dispute resolution is what I'm trying to kind of achieve,
Absolutely. The more that you can keep things away from the courts and just sort of have the parties decide or mediate these issues, I think the better, for sure.
Absolutely.
Does the software then also help with discovery of the other side's financial assets?
Well, I can work with both sides. So I've been working almost as a complete financial neutral as a consultant. So I can work with party A, party B. One distinct feature about my program is it's non-binary. So if I'm working with woman, woman, male, 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 female, my system don't know it. I just look at the financial information. So it removes some of those biases about perhaps the woman being the spousal support payer and the male being the recipient, or the high net worth could possibly be a female, not necessarily a male, and it removes those biases out of it. So the decisions that they're able to make are informed financial and sound decisions instead of being based on, oh, well, I'm the female, I should get more, or I should get less, or I should have more of this, that kind of approach, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I imagine the largest benefit of having access to this technology is the reduction in cost. Do you have a sense of what it would cost a person or their legal representative to be able to do this work without your technology?
Well, the average cost of a contested divorce in Canada, for example, is about 15,000 per person. And I'm seeing the same numbers in the US as well for a contested divorce. So if you're going to your legal representative to ask them, okay, I've got a statement here for a mortgage, I don't understand the amortization, I don't understand what financial information you're asking for. So if we're in the legal hands, we'll say, and they're collecting the financial disclosure, they're analyzing the financial disclosure, there's the cost associated with time, but there's also the cost that's associated with making a decision that might not make financial sense or might not be financially feasible, and then having to backtrack to come up with another decision that is financially feasible. So it works on saving time for the individual in both capacities that way. And for example, I had one case where had both parties' information, entered it into my system. I knew what one person's wish list was, the other person's wish was. I put both of their wishes together and came up with a middle of the road wish list for them. And they accepted it. It was over 10 million in assets, and it was done within 2 hours.
That's extraordinary. And I can only imagine the amount of time and cost for both parties to get to that resolution. That's fantastic. Wanda, what can you share about your background and why you wanted to do this out of the many things that you could do with your training?
So I'm a 2-time divorcee myself. I was 27 years old when I went through my first divorce. And I recently went through my second divorce after a lengthy separation. And for my own divorces, it cost me nothing. My second divorce cost $130, and my ex-husband paid that. He paid because I was the expert. He just paid the bill. And there's so many people that can do that. And when I could see that I could do it for myself, I want it to be that I want to help you to do this type of person. So seeing that it could be done and saving us, I mean, we didn't spend any of our equity in our home. We were able to have a very good division, but we were also able to maintain a civil relationship because we didn't go the adversarial route.
That's so important. That is so important. A previous guest made the fascinating point, one I hadn't thought about, which is that families going through a divorce are simply restructuring. Right? It's not that you're never going to see the person again. Most likely, you're just reconstituting the structure of the relationship. And so it is a family. It's still a family situation, even if it's not what everybody anticipated. So I appreciate you making that point again. Fantastic. And so where are your services offered?
Well, currently my services are all online. So everything that I'm doing is online. I'm in the process now of ramping up and launching into the US. And so they're available online. You can reach me through my website, through my email. But yeah, everything is online just to make it easier for people who have any type of access issues, physical disabilities, then they can have all this information, all of these resources available right at the comfort of their own home.
Excellent, excellent. And so the use of technology to do this financial analysis for divorce in particular, it's a burgeoning industry, I imagine. You have some other folks who are doing this, but conventionally, people would go to their lawyer and just have them do this work the hard way. Where do you see technology improving this process in the future? What's your vision going forward for the industry as a whole there?
Well, I see this as being legal adjacent, not replacing lawyers. And I know there's all this hype now that lawyers are concerned that with the introduction of ChatGPT and AI, that it's going to make lawyers obsolete. But this is about helping clients achieve an outcome, a desired outcome in a creative way, but leaving the legal issues to the lawyer to be able to resolve and not get tangled up in the financial weeds. But to be legally adjacent is, I want to walk side by side with lawyers and mediators and alternative dispute resolution professionals to be able to help move the needle on getting people the access that they need for these issues that they have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with the cost reductions that your technology can bring, I imagine more and more lawyers will be recommending that to their clients, right? Do you
I
see
hope
that
so.
as well? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, well, actually, it could be conflicting. If the lawyer wants to take all the money, then that becomes a challenge for sure. But
And certainly, I just went onto a presentation there not too long ago talking about flat fee and unbundled services for lawyers
yeah,
and billable hours. Now, as we're seeing more and more technology that's shortening the length of time that it's taking lawyers to do things, then that billable hour thing comes into question, right? So I believe that this could be something that could really benefit the lawyer to be able to do this fairly quickly, but also still maintain the relationship because the lawyer is delivering this information to their client and they're using it as their work product, but it's just a tool that helps eliminate and minimize the amount of time that they are spending at it. So that if they did want to offer something of an unbundled or a flat fee service, for example, then they're not going over on hours and losing out in that service.
absolutely. That is fantastic. Fantastic. Now, I know that We Decide, like Courtroom 5, is a member of the Justice Technology Association, it's a trade organization for those of us offering direct-to-consumer legal technology. Tell me about your experience there.
I think it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer, I came across a post of Justice Tech Association on LinkedIn. And I just went onto the website and I just sent in an application to be a member. And then Maya Makovich, the CEO, reached back to me and I joined the first meeting. And the first meeting that I joined, I felt a little bit awkward because I was with Canada and I felt like I'm completely out of the loop and our world is different. But it was the most amazing feeling because I felt like I found my tribe. I found individuals who think the same and they're impact driven and not revenue driven. And I mean, obviously we want to make money to be able to help more people. It's not about being not for profit, but it's about being impact driven and being just deliberate in what we're looking to achieve. And so finding individuals that have that same mindset has helped me grow to where I am this year.
That's extraordinary. Really good news. It certainly echo that sentiment as well. It has been a place to find our tribe. Glad that we are both a part of it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I love it.
But Wanda, where can people find you online? I'll share your website for We Decide. That's wedecide.ca for Canada. But where else can people find you online?
Well, it will go live. It's going to be wedecideHowWeDivide.com. wedecideHowWeDivide.ca. So once the program goes live and is available for purchase, we're right now in the, I won't say it's not even in the testing stages. I just want to make sure that I've made the technology right. Then I'm going to make it fast and then I'm going to make it pretty. So once it gets pretty, then you'll see wedecideHowWeDivide.com.
That is that's the protocol for release of technology.
It has no
I certainly
lipstick or
understand
makeup
it.
on it yet. So
Understood. We'll look for that, but also share what you have here.
But
Wanda,
anybody can reach out if they have any questions, if they have any need. Anybody can reach out to me through email. I'm very responsive to email, and I can conduct a lot of work without even having my website live. So I can do face-to-face, or I can do non-face-to-face through virtual. So Wanda at wedecide.ca. Anybody can reach out, send me an inquiry, say hi anytime.
awesome, awesome. And we'll include that in the show notes as well. Wanda, thank you so much for your work and for sharing this expertise with our viewers today. We will see you again soon.
Thank you for having me here. I must say, it's been a pleasure.
That is awesome. Fantastic.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
I learn more every day, something about these services, these mediation type services every day. It's extraordinary what is available today. So really, really happy to learn about Wanda's work there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Deborah, do you have some education for us today?
I do. Okay. Today's quiz. True or false? If you object to an error during a hearing and state legal grounds for the objection, you have preserved the issue for appeal. True or false? That is true. In any appeal, you have to have preserved the issue. That means that you have to have made the issue made basically made an issue of the issue, but made sure that the error that you pointed out, the error that you made it that you didn't somehow waive it, and that you want the court to recognize that you have a problem with an issue, and so that's how you preserve it. And one way to do that is to object, and object vehemently, and say why you're objecting.
I appreciate you sharing that. You know, as well as I, that we have a number of people who find Courtroom 5 after they've lost their cases and are seeking to appeal, but in one way or another haven't really preserved the errors they want to complain about. So
Right.
very important to do that, either in writing or orally. So appreciate you mentioning that. All right, that's all we have for you today. Thanks, as always, for joining us, and we will see you again soon.
Are you feeling beleaguered, angry, or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.